Google's is opening up a year-end time capsule for Canadians with a look back at the searches which dominated our time online in 2023. And Hibaq Ali is the Google Canada Trends expert and joins us right now live for a look at that. And Hibaq, this is always kind of a fun look at the year that is behind us. And so I'm pulling up the, all of the searches here. Let's start off with this. In the top what searches, what is femicide? That was one that I had never heard of.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, our year-end search list is really like a time cap of some of the things that Canadians were interested in this year. Femicide is a really important topic. It actually refers to the violence against women. And, that's been a conversation that's been going on online for quite some time. So really great to see Canadians doing their research, learning more about it, and raising awareness for that important issue.
And then the top people who passed in those searches, Bob Barker, that was the one that really stood out to me.
Yeah, and the people who passed category, a lot of really big names, including as well Matthew Perry from Friends, and a lot of iconic singers like Sinead O'Connor, Tina Turner, and Canadian legend Gordon Lightfoot as well.
Okay, but we have to do this. Top searches and people. Travis Kelce, he was on the list. Like, if it wasn't for, Taylor Swift, would he be on the list?
I'm not sure. I can definitely say that, Swifties have probably contributed to some of his online popularity this year. But he was on our top athletes list. So we also had people like Damar Hamlin and Connor Bedard, who was, selected overall in the NHL draft this year. So it's quite a diverse category. When it comes to Travis Kelce, I think that the Swifties probably helped his popularity this year.
And then continuing to look at the Taylor effect, what about concerts and searches for anything and everything related to Taylor Swift?
Absolutely. Taylor herself didn't actually appear on any of our lists this year, but that's because when we pull these lists every year, we're looking for people who really spiked in search interest compared to years prior, where somebody like Taylor Swift has more of a sustained search interest. People love her. We're always searching for Taylor Swift. So she's not necessarily on this list, but I will say that what we did see was people searching for information about her concerts, particularly in Vancouver, where, when we pulled our search trends for BC, lots of people in Vancouver are looking for Taylor Swift tickets this year.
And then top game searches. This is something that stood out to me. Wordle. I didn't play it. I kind of know what it is, but that was one of the top searches. We got to talk about that.
Yeah, so Wordle was actually one of the top trending searches overall in 2022. So it's not new to our list. Canadians were playing it last year quite aggressively, and we see it again this year. So the word game's really coming through. We're also seeing Connections, which is another New York Times game that people are playing. But top of the games list is the Hogwarts Legacy game from the Harry Potter universe. So Canadians also playing a lot of games as well.
And then top trending how searches. How deep is the Titanic? I think we all know why that kind of made the list, right?
Yeah, so if you remember back in June when the Titan submersible story first broke, a lot of people were interested in that story and following it along with that one. And then actually generated additional search interest around the Titanic itself. So we saw people searching for information like how deep is the Titanic and how many people passed away on the Titanic. So Titanic just being a general interest for Canadians this year.
What does it take to meet the minimum on this list?
Again, so we're looking for things that really spiked in traffic year over year. There are a lot of things that Canadians look for on a regular basis, like what's the weather or certain recipes. Like search is just a place where people come for general information. So we're really looking for things that spiked compared to years prior. And one of the things that we often see is that Canadians are really interested in news beyond our borders. So things like international events always taking top spot. We see things like the war in Israel and Gaza being one that Canadians are really interested in. And then other categories that we seem to love are sports. So this year, Women's World Cup and the ICC Cricket World Cup were among the top searches in our news and events category.
Hibaq Ali, Google Canada Trends expert. Thanks so much for that look back, the year in review, right? It's already here.
Thanks for having me.